Today, what we're going to do is learn how to create a 16 photo grid using Photoshop for our mood portrait assignment. Now, if you follow the directions, what is really key for this to work is that all your photos need to either be vertical or horizontal. So what you can see in Bridge is these would be 16 vertical photos that I've set up, meaning tall, or you could have 16 horizontal photos, but you cannot mix and match the two or it does not work. So if you have a mixed and match set, what you should do is stop now and either retake your photos or rethink which photos you're going to use so that they're all have the same orientation. Now, the first step of this is actually in Bridge, and what you want to do is get your 16 final photos into one folder. So you can do that a number of ways. You may already know or have a way that you like to do it. Maybe you like using the filter system. Maybe you have other plans. I'm going to show you one way to do it. What you can do is look through your photos. I'm always a big fan of using the rating system. But if you haven't done it, the other thing that you can do is go into your folder, hold down the Command key, and select individual photos that you want to use till you have your 16. And you can copy them over into a new folder. So once I select those photos, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to just go to Copy To. I will choose a folder because I'm going to end up creating a new folder for this. And I will go into my assignment. And I'll just make a new folder called Mood Portraits or whatever you want to call it. Type a name for it so you can find it. Hit Create. And if you hit Open, it will copy over your 16 photos into that. And you can do it piece by piece. You can move a couple at a time, check it out, move a couple at a time. But ultimately, what you need are 16 photos in that folder. So pause this video now, get your 16 photos into your folder, and then come back to the video. If you're now listening, I assume you already have your 16 photos in and you're ready to move on to the next step. On the next step, what you want to do is decide on the order of your photos, because Photoshop is just going to suck them up and put them into a grid in the order you've got them. So an easy way to do that is just to rename them. And whichever photo you want as your first photo will be named 1. Whatever you want as your last photo will be named 16. So you can kind of look through your photos and decide which one you want to start with. In this case, let's say I want to start with this photo. I'm going to click it. I will right click. I can go down to rename. And I would make this number 1. And it will pop it into the front. And I'll go through all 16 photos and get them into the order I like. So again, what you should do is pause the video and name your photos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 16 in the order that you would like them in your final work, and then come back. So if you're listening, I assume you have your pictures in the order you want in Bridge. You've got 16 photos of the same orientation in the order you want based on the name, and you're ready to now take them into Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Photoshop and open it up. And you actually aren't even need to create a new document. What you're going to do is go to File, go to Automate, and we're going to create a contact sheet. So File, Automate, Contact Sheet. And you're going to click. That's going to pull up another page, and this page is really key because this is going to tell it how to take the photos in from your folder and to make your sheet. So up on the top, it's asking you what your source images are, which means the images in your folder. So you're just going to actually choose use a folder because you already have everything in a folder. And then underneath, you're going to hit choose, and you're going to go to the folder that you have created that has your 16 photos in it and hit open. Deselect include subfolders if that's selected, because if you have an extra folder in there, we're going to ignore it. And that's going to tell it where to get your stuff. Then we're going to tell it what does the document look like, meaning it's going to take these, but what's the size of the document you want us to actually create in Photoshop. So we're going to make sure we're talking about inches, so make sure your units are inches. And your width and height depend on whether you did vertical pictures or horizontal pictures. If you did vertical pictures, meaning pictures that are up and down, then what we want is similarly a Photoshop document that's tall, has a narrow width and is tall. So what we're going to do if you've got vertical pictures is you'll make your width 7 and your height 10. And your resolution is 300. Also, we're going to tell it to flatten all the layers. What we don't want to end up with is 16 unique layers. It's going to take them all in and then just squish it into a final document. If your pictures are horizontal, meaning like this, then we want something that's wide or then it's tall, similar to the picture. So if you have a horizontal layout, you're going to choose 10 and your height will be 7. So it just depends. So either it's a width of 7 and a height of 10 if it's vertical, or if it's horizontal pictures, it's a width of 10 and a height of 7. So I'm going to do vertical pictures as an example. So 7 and 10. And then down here, we're going to tell it how to place our images. So we're going to go across first, meaning it's going to put your pictures 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need 4 columns and 4 rows. Have it selected for auto spacing, yes. So have that checked. Do not rotate it. And do not have use file name as caption, or it's going to create annoying text. So have that deselected. So your settings should look similar to mine. And if you're ready, you are going to hit OK, and it's just going to go and do it. So I'm going to hit OK. It created the document, and you're going to watch it in action. It's going to pull in all my pictures and pop them into the document. So you can kind of watch it work for you, and you don't have to do anything at all, but just watch. It's going to go through each picture and plop it in, and then flatten it all down into a final document for you. It did all the hard work. So now you should have evenly spaced pictures. So that's my vertical example. If you did a horizontal, I'll just show you again. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Automate. I'm going to go to Contact Sheet. I'm going to have it choose a folder. I'm going to go select my folder. In this case, I'm going to do my horizontals. Open. No subfolders. And if I did horizontals, it's going to be a 10 by 7 instead of a 7 by 10. I want it to flatten my layers. It's going to go across first, 4 by 4, no rotation, and no file name. And I'll hit OK. And then this time it will do all my horizontal pictures. You only should have one or the other, not both. I'm just showing you what both look like so you can kind of see whichever one you've done. You can see what that might look like once Photoshop is done. So I'll let it finish automating this process for me, which I love. I don't have to do any work. And it's done. And I have my horizontal pictures. If you want to keep your pictures in color, then you're set. All you would need to do now is go to File, Save As, and turn it into a JPEG and save it. If you want to turn everything black and white, as was the example that I showed you, people strip the color out of it. And one of the reasons we like doing that is, especially when you're taking pictures of people's faces, the color can just end up being a distraction rather than an addition. And when we take color out of photos, it really makes us concentrate on the details of somebody's face and not get distracted by the color of the background or the color of their clothes. So it can be a really nice thing. Plus it's moods, and one could argue black and white pictures have a little bit of a moodier look. So if what you ultimately want to do is turn it black and white, you can look at my other tutorial about turning things black and white that goes into more detail, but you really have two choices. One is to add an adjustment layer for the gradient map, which is this one over here. You can also get to it at the very bottom of your layers tab. There's a circle that's half black and half white, and you can choose gradient map. And it's just gonna boom. Oop, my gradient map is set to something funny. Sorry about that. And it'll just turn everything black and white in a really nice, rich way for me, and I'm done. So you can see what I mean. This is color, and when it's color, it's really pops, and we're really focused on the color. When you strip the color away from it, you get much more detail about, you see much more detail about things. The second option, which I discuss in more detail in the tutorial, is to use the black and white filter. And what the black and white filter lets us do, which is this middle one, where you can go down here and choose black and white, is it lets us choose which colors go where, and it lets us kind of map that. So that's a second option. In this case, I'm going to just stick with the gradient map. The gradient map does a really nice job of giving us these really rich, deep black colors and creating a nice contrast. So it may work really well for your assignment. And then you would save this again as a JPEG and turn it in. And that's how you do this assignment. So again, File, Save As. Remember to always save your final one as a JPEG, not as a Photoshop document. Make sure to give it a name. So mood, portrait, cats. Make sure I'm choosing my folder. And actually, I'm going to hit save. Make sure it's on the maximum file size and hit OK. And you're done. I look forward to seeing your final work.